between 401 and 500.
Weeks preceding this ranking, another done by Webometrics shows the highest ranked Nigerian university as the University of Ibadan once again, with a rank of 1,196. Some would say these low rankings are a true reflection of the quality of higher education in Nigeria, given that even as we speak, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is still mulling the matter of embarking on a fresh strike due to its unfulfilled demands from government.
Therefore, a look at our universities is in order this morning as we examine the state of higher education in Nigeria. And we have joining us this morning on Panorama Professor Olushiji Showande. He is the Dean, College of Animal Science
Production. Let's
among ourselves,
the researchers in Nigeria, when you are doing a research, you don't normally look at your own peer within the country. You want to cite publication of somebody in the US, somebody in the UK, whereas there are other people within Nigeria that are doing something that's related to your work. So what you are doing is that you are helping them to increase their own citation, which also reflects on the indexing and also the quality of their own research. And maybe one of the lessons that we should learn, we always tell our postgraduate students, before you search and cite other people's work, why don't you search within Nigeria and see how many people are working in the same area, so that you also increase the citation number of the publications of researchers in Nigeria. You see, the other thing is that it's like Nigeria has not even fully developed its own way of, determining quality. We always rely on what happens elsewhere, and also it's not as if there are no researches in Nigeria that impact people's life, but how visible on the web are these researches? Because what Times Higher Education ranking does, even webometrics, is to look at what you put on your web, visibility on the web. That's what they look at. Then on most of our websites, are they really functional? What are the contents that we put there? Like some of those things that are used, I'm not sure that many Nigerian universities put some of this information on their website. And I know that in UNAB, when we were very conscious and we were putting some of these things there, that was when we were ranked very high. But I think we lost this team. And then but I know that the university is trying its best to also get back to that high rating. For those who want to be ranked, they always put, then you also look at the age of this university. And for example, we are talking about citation. What I am not really sure of is that whether the citations are cumulative over time. A university that has existed since 1900, and then you are ranking it together with a university that have just existed for 50 years. It may look somehow, even though I know that in the modeling of the parameters that are used, there may be some things that are used to level up. But experience is also a very important aspect of some of these things. And so, the universities have been saying, we need to be more focused. And I think Times Higher Education ranking really focuses on research-intensive universities. And I'm not sure that our universities are really research-intensive because we seem to play more emphasis on teaching. That is when you want to look at how many number of students are admitted, and on the basis of that, because there are so many excesses, on the basis of that, you increase the number of universities without even looking at the quality of the existing one. So those are some of the issues. But I think if you look at the way university has ranked and the parameters that are used, is actually a true reflection of where we are as a country.
Okay. So let's stay with research for now. The federal government in 2011 set up the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, as a scheme to disburse, manage, and monitor education tax to government-owned tertiary institutions in Nigeria. And not too long ago, a TED Fund recently approved the release of about 300 billion naira to higher institutions in Nigeria, about 1 billion each for a university in each of the 6 geopolitical zones, as well as colleges of education and polytechnics. You've mentioned that funding is a problem. Is in spite of this, would you say that the federal government, by way of TED Fund, is not disbursing enough money or allocating enough money to research? As you have mentioned, and as is seen from the Times Higher Education ranking, we can see that research is one of the metrics used to judge a university's ranking, among other metrics such as teaching, international outlook, knowledge transfer. Not to mention, as you've said, we've seen that research has been proven to drive cutting-edge innovation that solves problems, the people's problems. So, is given the high premium that should be placed on research, is the federal government matching up to that in some of its disbursement through TED Fund?
Well, we should commend TED Fund for at least refocusing and focusing on research. All the while, the funding from TED Fund has been on the construction of structure, buildings, improving the learning environment. But now TED Fund is trying to focus on research. And we have talked about 1 billion naira. And I think if you convert that 1 billion naira to dollars, you can imagine how small the amount is. So you want to think about what will that 1 billion naira do? Is it to buy equipment? Is it to buy reagents? Is it to set up a lab? So those are the issues. Yes, I think that fund did right by trying to establish centers of excellence. The intention is that you want to establish areas where there will be focus on research. And I know that each of those centers of excellence have specific mandates. And I hope that that fund will go beyond that 1 billion naira, because the equipment that are going to be purchased are not produced in Nigeria. It has to be purchased from outside Nigeria, and then you are talking about dollars, or you are talking about euro, you are talking about pound sterling. And if you convert that 1 billion naira, and I'm very sure that 1 billion naira is not only for research, there are other things that are also attached to it. So I will say that that fund has done well by starting. But I think what that fund should do is to put more funds into those centers of excellence. And then each of those centers of excellence should be focused on relative areas of advantage that are peculiar to the areas where they are cited.
You have talked about where we got it wrong as regards research. But I would like to ask, in those other areas, I think you also mentioned our outlook on the web as well, which also points to one of the points or one of the metrics of this ranking. But the other two, where do you think we got it wrong in those other two areas?
The specifics, so that
teaching.
Okay.
Knowledge transfer.
Knowledge transfer.
I think that our education system gets it all wrong, not at the university level, but I think at the primary and the secondary school level. So let me be specific. If I understand the 6334 system very well, the intention was that you want to sift students into those that will go into technical education and those that will go to the university. And I think if I understand that policy very well, it is not every student that passes through GS3 that's supposed to go to senior secondary school. At that point in time, some should have been sifted as gifted in technical education. And those are the ones that should go to the polytechnics, to all the other technical education outfit that we have in Nigeria. But if you look at the system now, everybody who passes goes from GS3 to SS1. And everybody that gets to SS3 wants to go into the university. In fact, our polytechnic are taken as a second-rated higher institution, whereas our polytechnics are supposed to be the technical hub of our education on our country. So we don't really have a policy that really encourages people to go into technical education. Now, if somebody is a technical person, I want to believe that he should even earn more than somebody who is an administrative person. And I think when we have such things, then there will be a path that is different. Anybody who wants to go into university will know that he knows what he's going there for. But anyone who wants to go to polytechnics knows that he's going for a technical education, and his presence will always be on the field, not in the offices. But what do we have now? We have so many people coming into the university, and the facilities that are available are too small to accommodate them. In a hall that ordinarily, reasonably, you are not supposed to have 1,000 students in a class. And then when you have 1,000 students in a class and you put them in a hall that should not only contain about 500, you already have a problem. You get it now. But I know what universities are now doing is that 1,000 students at the same level, they are divided into two, maybe 500. I'm not sure there are instances where they are divided into, let's say, four, where you can have 250. Because the lower the number of people you are interacting with, the better the impact. So our learning environment is also an issue. And the quality of what you put in that learning environment is also an issue. And don't forget that many students that are coming to the university, many of them are poor. So you cannot even encourage high-tech teaching, because you also need to have facilities to, this online teaching that we are doing. You still have students who could not afford, Android phones, even the cheapest of them. And so even when you are doing online teaching, you still have few of them that are still having problems. So the issue is that our learning environment, though improving, but has not gotten to the standard that we can say that we can compare with universities outside Nigeria. Well, many of us have gone outside. We have seen their own learning environment, whereas students will sit comfortably with all the gadgets around them. They have access to computer, the internet is functioning, and everything is working well. The population of students who want to go into university seems to be exclusive now, and I'm not sure we have such in universities outside Nigeria. Quite a lot of challenges, but our learning environment through TED fund intervention seems to be improving, but the level of improvement has not matched us at the same level with universities outside Nigeria.
All right, well, still speaking with Professor Olushiji Shawande, who is Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. And we're looking at the state of higher education in Nigeria, given the recent rankings by the Times Higher Education of about 1,600 universities globally. Where the first Nigeria to appear on the list, the first Nigerian university to appear on the list, comes somewhere between 401 and 500. And we're looking at whether that's a true reflection of the state of higher education in Nigeria. Now, on teaching and knowledge transfer, which is yet another one of the indices used by the Times Higher Education ranking, you've said working environment is one of the factors, but it would be remiss for me not to bring up perhaps the style of teaching or the method of teaching, which many Nigerian undergraduates and graduates have criticized. Many say that what is being taught in these classrooms or these lecture halls are not in tandem with what obtains in reality, that many of the curriculum is often outdated, is often obsolete, and they often have no real life use for it, which some would say accounts to why many graduates are unemployable, or perhaps cannot use the knowledge attained in school to solve problems around them. As a lecturer in a Nigerian university, what's your take on that? Or how do you plead?
Well, the issue of curriculum is not a static thing. Curriculum is something that is reviewed and reviewed and reviewed in line with the current realities. But again, when you are reviewing curriculum, you also need to look at the available facilities for you to be able to develop a curriculum, and then you also develop curriculum in relation to the problem of the society. Let me take agriculture as an example, because that is where I think I can speak more on.
Right.
I remember that when our university started, but the population was not much, and the number of students were not much, and I know that the number of tractors that we had so much that we even leave some in the store while we use some on the field. And at that time, every student have access to at least being able to drive a tractor for a prolonged period of time.
When you started?
When the university started. And I think at that time we were under Ministry of Agriculture. But there was a policy somersault that moved to education, and the level of funding reduced. So we do not have, the intention was to train agriculturists that will be able to use, that will move away from this subsistence and local method of agricultural production. And the intention was to produce graduates that will not look for white-collar job, so that we can have a full sufficiency. But because of policy somersault, yes, we have reviewed curriculum in line with the present realities that agriculture is going to be the mainstay of the economy. But again, given the number of students that are involved in agriculture now, they will have a matching number of tractors that will train students to be able to handle. So those are issues. The curriculum, I do not agree with the students that what they have been taught is outdated. The curriculum is usually reviewed time over time. But the thing is that practicalizing those curricula is a major issue, because you are limited. One, because the number of students you are dealing with are so much, the facilities available, even though they are there, but will not be able to carry all the students at the same time. And you know they have a limited time they are supposed to. So what you then do is that you allow them to touch it, just have a touch, a feel, instead of having the real, serious, practical.
Please hold your line of thought there. We also have joining us live on the line this morning to help further this conversation, Professor Kayode Akinyemi, Director, Center of Excellence in Agriculture and Sustainable Development, FUNAB. At one time, he had previously been Director of Academic Planning. He joins us live on the line this morning. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
I don't know if you have been following the conversation since we started, but we are looking at the rankings of Nigerian universities, and we're trying to look at why it seems like a number of Nigerian universities that are even ranked, that make the rankings, are not as highly placed as maybe many would like. What are some of the issues that you think mitigate against Nigerian universities making it to the top of the rankings?
Thank you very much once again for having me, and good morning our listeners out there. Let me also say good morning to Professor Showande there, because I think I listened to some of the things that he said. And I don't want to repeat the things that he said. I would just want to add some few things to it. Just to say that, number one, web ranking is a remote quality assurance system. The World Quality Assurance Body does not pay physical visits to the universities. So what they do is that they remotely look at what you do on the web, and that's very, very critical. And so you can be doing very good research as a university, and if you are not putting it on the web, you are going to be ranked low. And you can also be doing very little research as a university, but if you put it on the web and then you satisfy all the conditions in terms of visibility, accessibility, and then the rich content and the traffic and all of that, then you are going to be ranked high. So I agree that it's a true reflection of what obtains in Nigerian university system. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, it's not 100% a true reflection, in the sense that you may be doing very good research and then you are not making yourself visible on the web. You are still going to rank very, very low. But on the average, for the fact that no Nigerian university system has been able to break through into the first 500 in the world, is a very critical assessment of our state of education. But let me also say that, fine, there are 13 indicators that the web ranking body has put up there. But you can summarize all of these things into three: the quality of personnel, the quality of facilities in terms of teaching facilities and the research facilities, and then the quality of output. When I say output, I'm talking about your students, the employability, the international mix. How many of them are they all Nigerians? Some of them from Africa or within the sub-region, some of them from outside Africa, and all of that. So if you look at all of these three, number one, the quality of personnel. Nigerian personnel, Nigerian researchers, Nigerian academics, there's no doubt about that. We have some of the best in the world. And of course, we have said this over and over again. They go out there and they perform very well. So in terms of the personnel, we don't have problem. These are people who are well trained, and then they have what it takes to be able to deliver. The second one is the quality of facilities. Of course, that's where our major issue is. The facilities are not there. The facilities are not up to date. The facilities are obsolete in so many cases, and that is one of the major reasons. And you are not going to do magic. If the facilities are not there, then it will affect the quality of the output. Now, the third one is the quality of output. Output in terms of students, students' employability, how many of them do you graduate, how many of them are from outside the country, and all of that. And so, again, you are not going to attract students from outside the country if you are not visible on the web, if you are not accessible on the web, if people don't know what you are doing. And so these are some of the areas that we need to really pay attention to as a university, as a Nigerian university system. And so these are the things I want us to look at. Also, you mentioned, I think somebody talked about industry-university relationship. It's a very key thing. Now, I've been talking about the triple helix for some time now, the government, the industries, and then the university system. The level of partnership, the level of collaboration is very weak in these three areas. The government provides the funds, or government is expected to provide the funds. The academics are supposed to do research, and then the industry is supposed to take up the research and then use it for the good of the people. Then on the other way, when the industries believe in what you are doing, they also provide part of the funds to support what you are doing. But the truth of the matter is that the triple helix that the entire universities in the world depend on is very weak in Nigeria. Industries are not collaborating with Nigerian university systems. The government too is also not providing the exact amount of funds that university needs to be able to do all of these things. And that's exactly one of the reasons that we are having all of this low ranking.
Why is this weak, though? Why do we have this weak collaboration? Because I remember I had, I'm not sure if it's Professor Sonny now or Professor Adebayo on an interview some time ago, and he talked about this package. Was it package Fufu? You know, at some point, as regards how FUNAB was able to, come up with that research and transcend it to the industry. So why do we have this weak collaboration between the university and the industry? Why do you think that is so?
Well, I want to believe that number one is a function of trust. It's also a function of communication, because communication is very key. The universities must communicate with the industries what they do. And then the industries must also believe and trust the university system, that you cannot make any progress as an industry if you don't take the output from the university system, because that's exactly what you need. And so it's a function of communication. We must communicate much better as a university system. We must tell them what we are doing. We must open up our doors and bring them in, tell them what we are doing, come and see the kind of research our students are doing. And then the industries also must be ready to have trust and confidence in what the universities are doing. And you cannot have that trust and confidence if you don't also give them seed money. If you are not interested, you are not going there, you are not asking questions, you're also not providing funds. So this is a two-way thing. And number three, the government now has to now be the anchor that will bring the industries and the universities together. So government has to play that leadership role. Bring all the universities on one side and also bring the industries, the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, the food industries, the agricultural industry, bring them together and let them interact and collaborate. That is the only way. Somebody has to provide the leadership, and that's the government. But I tell you, I will give you an example. Now in our own Center of Excellence, the key thing that we do there is we have tried as much as possible to do what we call industry-university engagement. And now our students, they collaborate well with the industries. The industries now, we invite them to come and see what we do in our Center of Excellence, and we even take some of them there, they are now interested in what we do because we have opened up our system completely to them. And so the level of partnership has increased significantly. And that's also what will lead to what we have now in our university system. Some of our programs now have international accreditation. One of the factors that they look at when it comes to either international accreditation or web ranking is the level of partnership. How many of them are interested in what you are doing? How many of the support or funds come from the industries? How many of your research outputs are the industries taking to a higher level and developing? How many of your patents or your research output are the industry are they taking up and raised up? So these are the key questions that we have to keep answering. But I tell you now that the universities now know that this is the way out, and things are now increasing, and the level of partnership is on the rise. And I see if we get to that point, then the level of ranking we are talking about We will not be able to compare well with other universities outside the country.
Okay, now, Professor Akinyemi, when it comes to foreign certification, we see that Nigerian students or youths prize foreign certification. As a matter of fact, Nigeria is rated as an important student supply market due to the large number of students that travel outside the country for academic purposes. Last year, in spite of COVID, ICEF reported that over 100,000 Nigerians traveled for further studies abroad. Now, there's talk of brain drain in the medical sector, but this increase in the number of students who opt to study abroad as opposed to studying in our universities, how do you think we can stem it? And is this something we should even attempt to stem?
We should make attempts to the most important thing, because you cannot completely close your doors to students going outside the country. There's no doubt about that. But make your universities also attractive to other students to come in. That's the only thing we can do. You can't close the doors. You can't tell your students not to go to other places, but make it very attractive. If it's attractive, don't forget that this country is a very big country, a country of a population of 200 million people. So there's no doubt about that, that those who have means, those who have the funds, they will still want to go out there and get perhaps what they think is a better educational system. But the most important thing is that close your eyes to what is happening at that level. People that are going out, make your own universities attractive in terms of all of these indicators we have talked about. Ensure that there is regularity of calendar, ensure that the facilities are there, ensure that funding is consistent and it's reasonable to a very large extent, and also ensure that the students they are going to get jobs when they finish at the end of the day. So if all of these things are put in place, you'll be able to stem it without deliberately closing the door. The issue is not to start discussing brain drain and students going out of the country, and then we'll say, what can we do? Are we going to shut the door? No. Let's look critically inwards and look at the troubles and the challenges we have as a university system, and try to make our universities very attractive. If you attract, for example, I was saying the other time, how many of the foreign students do we have in our university system anymore? Many years before, if you come to FUNA, for example, you are going to see students from the Nigerian Republic, from the Gambia. If you go to UI, you will see so many students from outside the country. Brazil come and study in Nigeria. But all those students are gone. You can't find them anymore. So those ones are the issue of having foreign students back is very key. And then your own students also, you have to maintain them and retain them. If you retain them to a very large extent, the other students will also have to want to come in. Then also the issue of security is important that we have to take very seriously. Because a lot of students who may want to come, even apart from the facilities and apart from the other issues we are talking about, if the security is an issue, they will not want to come. You also need to have some other lecturers as foreign contributors, foreign collaborators to come into your system. These are the indices they look at. How many of your personnel are from outside the country, those who are teaching personnel or research personnel? How many of them are visiting professors? How many of them are visiting researchers? Some of these guys may also want to come, but when the security is not in place, they will not want to come. So a lot of issues are involved that as a university we have to look into, but as a country, the government has to pay very close attention and address all of these things holistically.
Mm. All right. We'd like to sincerely appreciate you for your time this morning, Professor Akinyemi. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Professor Akinyemi there joined us live on the line, but we still have with us here in the studio. We started the program together talking about Professor Olushiji Showande. He's the Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production, FUNAB. But let's get
both
to the
agricultural experts
as well. And I know a lot of research goes into agriculture at this level, especially at the level of FUNAB here. But before we get to the phone lines, very quickly, Prof, a lot has been said about what some of the issues are and what have you, but are there immediate... I know these issues are probably not going to be solved immediately, but have short-term to long-term outlook to some of these challenges. So can we highlight some of those that could be solved in the short term and some of those that could take some time before we are able to see the end of them?
Well, I think I don't see any one of them that can be solved in the short term.
What about medium term?
Well, maybe medium term we can solve some of them to some extent. because we are talking about a long period of negligence, and so for us to really improve, it will take some time, and it will take conscious effort on the part of all the stakeholders. Well, TEFON has taken the bull by the horn. I think the Nigerian government should also take the bull by the horn. There was a time when we were talking about education summit. The output of that education summit, we are yet to see it materializing. Those are the kind of things that we are talking about. You have good summit with good output, implementation is a problem. And so I think that most universities in Nigeria are also trying their best to get over some of these problems. I know that in FUNAB, attempt has been made to increase the number of facilities that are available, including equipment. We have a central lab that has quite a number of high-tech equipment. Those are part of the step that we're talking about. We have, in terms of mechanization of agriculture, I think we have intensified effort in that respect too, because when you get to a campus, you see a large acreage of land being farmed using tractor. At least students can see. Students are also involved. These are part of it. We have we are reviewing most universities are reviewing what makes you a professor, to also reflect some of these things, like where you publish. Are they high impact journals? Are they are your publication index in some of these ranking databases? So these are some of the things that the university are also doing. But I know that recently NUC was asking that all lecturers should provide information about themselves and their ORCID ID, just to be sure that every lecturer is also registered, because these are part of the things that are used. The visibility of our publications. If you have maybe 70 publications and none of it is in any of these high impact databases, you are not on Google Scholar. Many people do not take it as important, but these are part of the things that are used. So universities and NUC are also trying to ensure visibility, and many universities are also improving on their web content, putting as much as possible their research outputs, their activities, the impact they have made on the society on the web. But you know that all these things cost a lot of money, and if you don't have the right kind of funding, sustaining the website requires a lot of funding. Providing internet requires a lot of funding, and all the facilities are there. But within the little resources that the universities in Nigeria have, they are trying their best. That's why I said that it will take some time, but it also require concerted effort by all the stakeholders to do their own part. Let the researcher do his own work, but funding must be available for such research. We are talking about the cassava flour, odorless cassava flour. We have the industry within our campus there. We are producing. Few industries have imbibed that methodology, but there are other things that we also do. That, like for example, we have produced we have a breed of a chicken that we call FUNAB Alpha. The university publicized it, but there's no industry that is ready to take it over as, let us begin to mass produce, so that we can also compete with all the imported chicken or birds that we use on our farm. So that one is not hidden. Everybody knows about FUNAB Alpha. These dual purpose birds that will give you meat, that will also give you eggs. But a lot of investment is required to be able to produce at such a high level to satisfy the market.
Right.
That is not coming forth. Those are some of the things we are. That's why I said it's something that could be taken up by government. Say, okay, this is something, make a policy on it. Okay, if you want to produce in Nigeria, we recognize FUNAB Alpha as a product that you can use, and encourage people in the ministry, encourage people in the farm, in the industry to also,
come up with more innovations.
Yes, and then the more people, patronizes it, there will be new development because there will be a fund to continue to improve that. So that's why I said that every stakeholder, government, industry, universities, researchers, individuals, will have to work concertedly to ensure that some of these things are improved over time. But these are not things that will just happen in a day or in a year.
All right. We've taken an in-depth look at the state of higher education and tertiary institutions in Nigeria. That's our issue of the day. And our guest so far has been Professor Olushiji Showande, who is Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production at Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. We've also spoken briefly to Professor Kayode Akinyemi, Director, Center of Excellence in Agriculture and Sustainable Development. If you've been following the conversation, now is the time to chip in your comments. Send them to us on WhatsApp 0817-555-1067. If you prefer to call us, the studio lines are now open. The numbers are 0817-444-1067, 0704-400-1067. Our WhatsApp line is also a call line. Once again, it's 0817-555-1067. Facebook is Splash FM 106.7. We've looked at the Times Higher Education Rankings, which, as we mentioned early on, is one of three of the most long established and influential rankings in the world. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Nicholas.
Yeah, Nicholas, yeah. Good morning to you all. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Professor Olushiji, you have spoken well. You see, when my dad was trying to get to university, his uncle, who was his sponsor, told him if he wanted to go to Canada, Europe, America, or India. But my dad said if he doesn't go to UNN or Ibadan, he won't go to university. Because at that time, it was the DOS students that went to a place they called Punjab. There's a place they called Punjab in India. It was his DOS students that went there. Then the spoiled kids of the rich that also went to America and UK. The best minds and those who could not pass the Nigerian jam of that time. So like you are saying now, this is our system as Nigeria has the best in everything. From our doctors to our lawyers to even the best in the other world. But education goes beyond a large expanse of land with beautiful buildings. Professor Chikobi, when he solved one of Fermat's last theorems, he was not in MIT, Yale, or Harvard. He was in Onitsha. Now you are operating from a studio. You'll be amazed that an opinion poll would show that many people are listening to Splash now than any other media agency in the Southwest that has a very big expanse of land or big buildings. Efficiency, sometimes it goes beyond size. Funding is vital. Who are you funding? What is the curriculum? What is the background of the teachers? The life of a soldier, a researcher, and a soccer player are almost linked together. You might spend billions on a football club and they battle relegation. On the students who are complaining, Lola, what kind of students are complaining? Is it those whose role models are hush puppy, or they are small counterparts who want to spend time with 50-year-olds in service apartments? In all of Nigerian universities, there are still students who are serious, are doing great work, and managing what we have. On the reports, there was a report I saw one time. They measured the economy of the world by the number of chocolates consumed. But the girl in Papa might want to consume Ireke. The boy in Ogumosho might want to consume Ogumosho mango. So this report sometimes, who is doing the report? What is the mindset? What is the aim of the report? Right. It goes beyond what we are seeing.
All right. Nicholas, thank you very much for your comment. Nicholas' comments can crack you up sometimes.
Indeed, but they are always insightful to some extent.
True. Let's get back to the phone lines. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Afalabi.
Yes, Tajudeen from
Mago. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
I want to believe that evaluation will go a long way in assisting our academic institutions, because I don't think we really need to start waiting for this kind of rankings to come out before we know what next to do. At certain points, at certain critical points, maybe per year, twice in a year, there should be self-evaluation using this particular criteria that we've mentioned, that we've already known, that, okay, how are we faring as an institution? That is one. Then there is this, I have this friend that almost got a scholarship abroad to go for another master's, or I think PhD also. Why he was disqualified was that he graduated from this finance. Why he was disqualified was that his university has no rank. That was the reason said to him, not an assumption. That was the reason that was communicated to him, that we are sorry you have been denied so simply because we have tried to look up on our system. Your university has no rank. Just imagine. So self-evaluation is very, very important. We should invite that.
All right. Thank you very much, Tajuddin.
Tajuddin. And Tajuddin raises a point I was going to add. As an add-on to what he said, in spite of the criticism of these rankings, Nicholas was questioning the validity of these rankings, and Professor Akiyemi also mentioned some of the limitations of these rankings. It must be said that some countries, such as Denmark and the Netherlands, use these university rankings as part of a points-based immigration program, while other countries automatically recognize degrees from higher-ranked universities, which is similar to what Tajuddin just said. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this is Afolabi.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Prof. Thank you so much. You have said a lot, and I think most Nigerians know a lot about what is taking us backward in terms of education, research, and so on. There are some, let me say, like 2 questions that I want to have. I understand that for a good research to be successful, data is very important. And then I discovered that in this country, we don't always have adequate data to support our research. What can the university committee do in terms of that? For instance, at times when you hear something from the NBS, at times I get confused, because it might not be a reflection of what is on ground. Then again, this thing has become a culture. When our profs are in the university community, they speak well, they try to do their best, but when they are appointed to take up political positions, like Minister of Education, commissioners, and so on, they fumble. They know the right thing to do. I believe that giving them such opportunity to avail them the chance to present what will help the situation. But what happens at the end of the day? They do otherwise. But at times we begin to imagine whether some of them are that qualified to be called a professor. What can we attribute to that? Because they are part of what can help the system.
All right. Thank you very much.
For your contribution.
Prof, can you just try and marry all of those in like a minute, because we have to proceed on a commercial break now?
Well, let me say that I think institutionalization of our data collection is what is lacking. I think we collect data on the basis of immediate requirements. We are supposed to have institutions that collect data on specific issues over time. And when you analyze such data over time, you can easily predict what will happen in the future. But I think what we do is that we just do this fire brigade data collection thing. And then, for example, if you ask, give us data of some things from 1960, hardly can we find such databases. The level of income of Nigerians from 1960, you may not find it. And if you find it, they are scattered here and there. So I think we need to institutionalize our data collection to be able to project and be able to determine what our issues are and how to solve them. Well, university environment is different from political environment. In the university environment is service, you tell the truth. The reason for research is that you are trying to find out what the truth is. Political environment, you are just trying to satisfy all kinds of people, and so you may not be consistent in whatever you are doing. That is why you find those who are professors and then eventually ventures into politics. It's very difficult for them to be consistent because they need to satisfy a lot of things.
Well, we do have to proceed on a commercial break now. Thank you very much, Prof. The phone line still buzzing. We appreciate everyone. Maybe when we return, maybe we'll squeeze in one or two more calls. But thank you very much, despite the short notice, for coming through this morning, Prof.
You're welcome.
All right, we have been speaking with Professor Olushiji Showande. He's Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production here at Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Once again, thank you, Professor. We'll head on a break now. When we come back, we'll take your comments on WhatsApp and Facebook, as well as maybe a few calls. Stay with us, please.
Splash FM 106.7.
ẹ tẹ́tí sí ìkéde yìí ilé ìtajà the Ennis Global Convenant Boutique and Stores ń kí àwa òbí àti alágbàtọ́ kú ìpalẹ̀mọ́ ìwọlé fún sáà ìkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tuntun àṣírí wa bò lágbára Ọlọ́run. À ń fi àsìkò yìí kéde wípé àwọn nǹkan tí àwọn ọmọ wa máa nílò ti wà lọ́dọ̀ wa. A ní imported school sandals, HP school bag, HP lunch box, PL Power, character bag, lunch box àti lunch bag, socks, pants àti singlet. Gbogbo ẹ̀ ní owó tí kò gara. Bí a ṣe ń ta children wear ní the Ennis Global Convenant Boutique and Stores. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni a tún ta unisex outfits, quality foreign shoes and sandals, jewelry, men's shirts, jeans, trousers, perfumes and body sprays at affordable prices. The Ennis Global Convenant Boutique and Stores wà ní number 9 Onikolobo Road, Ladojukọ Catholic Comprehensive High School, Onikolobo Road, Abeokuta. Ní the Ennis Global Convenant Boutique and Stores. Níbẹ̀ lẹ ti máa rí àwọn ojúlówó ohun èlò tó jẹ́ àmúyangàn fáwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lówó tí ò gara. Fún àlàyé síwájú sí ẹ pè 0818-303-5977 0818-303-5977.
ìròyìn lọ kó yá wá. January agro investment limited. àràmúlẹ̀ tún dé o. January gbẹ̀mú rẹ̀ dé o. àti gbẹ̀mú rẹ̀ dé èmi àjànàkú bàbá sẹ̀mí. àti ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ plọ́ọ̀tì kọ̀ọ̀kan. alẹ́ fún nìyàn ní plọ́ọ̀tì mẹ́ta. èrè ju mẹ́ta lọ ṣá o. àfún ẹ̀lílẹ̀ dàkó. ìdákànnú dàmẹ́rin èrè ìbáwá ìlú rẹ̀ yóò bá gbèrè máa jẹ́ tiwa. iléeṣẹ́ first January agro investment limited. pẹ̀lú ètò lórí ìwé mi rè nílé àtàwọn ètò mìíràn. ẹ̀rọ̀dún méjì péré la wà máa fi yọ̀ọ̀dà kànnú dàmẹ́rin yìí o. ẹni lágbára mẹ́ta kó wá gbalẹ̀. àìmọ̀ yìí ilẹ̀ oko tí múlẹ̀ lọ sálálu. ìgbà ẹ̀bẹ̀ pọ̀ àtúntì fọ̀sẹ̀ kan kún. ọjọ́ keje oṣù kẹsàn-án ilẹ̀ oko ọ̀fẹ́ máa dópin o. panẹ́rì máa fi ẹ̀lí wọn bá kó fẹ́ gbìn. tó bá mọ̀ nípa aṣẹ́ òkú àwọn ìmọ̀ abáyé lólẹ̀ ti wà kó máa lọ́dún retí rẹ̀. fún ẹnilẹ̀ kò dìmọ́ sùlù àti bíkì dádì yóò máa jẹ lọ́wọ́. first January agro investment limited. awali ansarudin house. wari road pepsi labẹ́kúta. 08165646535. iyì tún gọ̀ǹtì yọ.
Mindoto nila iso gun mate olun ko gbe no pe ko fason ko posi ye ko je mimo mun to me ye ko yo mu huti nge doji o mun to national to ye pa ko te poso mu no be fason plan mesi me do have fason to motion da won lewe to mun to lo ma be so gasha to me afon do je ga to me ko jayi to asako atonu kulo poto to ja sachiro poto osun sha to me na do yo mun to we se ye ton bo mo do ase jere na igba wa gbaro poda o mun to lo forun tata hi ahoro ko gbe no pe ko fason ko so akoeto we se o mun to lo do je honu na gan ko nu ku ene wa ko do je didoji do na o me to ele na do yo mun to lo ga kere di akunle de we so musido unle akotole lo suga sonu do àwọn nu to we bo so to aloklo to jeme ko adipo sipo do unle de we so wan vision corona ton si yi o mu to ebo mla yeme do do alotera o fason ogun ma te holu po gbe no pe nu ko fason ko si yi onu lato
ẹ wá gbọ́ bí mo ṣe ń wí ní káàtà lẹ́tọ̀ wá pa the wills and properties ní ká lọ wọn kì í talẹ̀ kan fẹ́ni méjì ṣèyẹn lé ní wàhálà ọmọ nílẹ̀ ìyẹn ò sí lọ́dọ̀ wọn wò sóbí máa wojú àwọn ti bí ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run náà fi ń tajà sí wọn ìwé lọ́rọ̀ tí gbọ́ ọ̀dọ̀ àlàáfíà. simple kẹ́tẹ́lì mi ká lọ o. ká lọ bá àwọn dòwò pọ̀ the way homes and properties nílùú Ẹ̀gbálé.
gbogbo ilẹ̀ the way homes and properties ló gbàgbé tán àbí san díẹ̀díẹ̀ a wà ní 24 Nawarudin road ládojúkọ Nawarudin high school Ìṣàbọ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 08161411190 tàbí 09125242235 the way homes and properties ẹni mọ̀nà ni ẹjọ́ òfin yín mọ̀nà.
Adédìrú Àṣàbí ni orúkọ mi. Èmi ni àkọ́bí ọmọ fún ìdílé Adélọ́rọ̀. Oyinwọnúọlá ni orúkọ tí èmi ń jẹ́. Èmi ni ọkùnrin tí ó wà láàrin ẹ̀gbọ́n mi obìnrin àti Oyíndàmọ́lá àbúrò mi obìnrin.
Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Àlàbí Adélọ́rọ̀ ni mí. Èmi gan ni olórí ìdílé wa. Digbí ni ọkàn mi balẹ̀ torí ohun gbogbo tí ìdílé mi fẹ́ fi ṣọdún bíi ìrẹsì, màálù, ògúnfe, òróró, tọ́kí àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Bí ọdún bá ti kù ọ̀sẹ̀ kan nílé iṣẹ́ ABL máa gbé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ fi ṣọdún yìí fún mi.
Ọkọ tèmi nìkan ọ̀rẹ́ tòótọ́ kan ṣoṣo fún àwọn ọmọ wa. Àṣeyọrí wa yìí ṣeé ṣe nípa fífi 2,500 pamọ́ fún àwọn ọmọ wa. Èmi náà ń fi 5,000 naira pamọ́ nínú owó oṣù mi. Ọkọ mi náà ń fi 10,000 naira pamọ́ nínú èrè okòwò rẹ̀.
Tó bá jẹ́ ti ìdílé Adélọ́rọ̀ pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ iléeṣẹ́ ABL.
Ọdún Kérésìmesì àti ọdún tuntun máa dùn yùngbàyùngbà lọ́dọ̀ tiwa.
Iléeṣẹ́ ABL wà ní nọ́mbà 47 Purple House Ìtòkú Road Ìtàmọ́rìn Junction Abẹ́òkúta Ògùn State. Ẹ pè 09026577587.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
We educate. That's why we are respected. We inform. That's why we are loved. More music. We are the best. The integrity station. Splash, splash.
106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back to Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. So we'll just take a few, maybe one or two more calls and your messages on social media before we proceed to From the Pages, which is the second segment of the show. So let's take this call now. Hello, good morning. Please turn down the volume on your radio set. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Oh, hello.
All right, well, do well and call us back once you get your affairs.
0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067 0817 555 1067. That doubles as the WhatsApp portal as well.
On WhatsApp, Samson U. Joseph says, Prof is laying emphasis on research being a core parameter for ranking when there are 13 parameters used. But help me ask Prof this. Oops, Prof is gone, but his question goes, what happens to 99.9% of lecturers in Nigerian tertiary institutions who never change their notes? Why poor lecturing pattern used by the lecturers? Nigerian lecturers see themselves as gods who determine our future. They can frustrate students' lives and they know it. The quality of personnel has reduced. I know Professor will disagree. For me, Covenant University made the list because of their output. What is the essence of research that has no impact on the common man? FUNAB's bread that cannot go around Obantoko, is that impact? All right, well, thank you, Samson U. Joseph, for your contribution. Olajuwon says, the two professors have said it all, but my take on the matter regarding funding and conducive environment, since the funds available to our institutions are not enough, is it that these institutions should specialize and stop introducing courses that are not relevant to their modus operandi? I cannot imagine a polytechnic offering accountancy and business studies instead of focusing on technical and engineering programs. Thank you for your comments dropped on WhatsApp. We'll now take you through the headlines from the newspapers.
I have with me here the Punch newspaper.
I've got Nigerian Tribune.
I'll also take a look at the Daily Post newspaper online as well. But first, the headlines from the Punch newspaper. But before that, let me mention again, last week, Monday, I believe, we talked about the COVID-19 vaccine, the phase 2. And myself and Lola, just like we promised,
actually,
we are taking
4 of us in the studio.
Yes, every one of us here. We are taking our first dose of the Moderna vaccine, and quite a number of us here, about 26 of us here at Splash FM, took the vaccine on that day, and that's in addition to about 4 or 5 who had done that before. We have Ayomide Adetunji who had done that before, Roland Ibonyera who had done that before, and quite a number of people, but 26 of us. So, again, we're trying to say that it's safe, you know. Fever, maybe pain on the spots and what have you, some had cold, but within a day all of that resolved and we're all fine. As you can see, we're all fine. Maybe some had it harder than others, but within a day or two, all of these symptoms actually resided, and we're all fine. So again, we're encouraging you out there, if you're listening to this program, COVID-19 is real. It's out there. A lot of people have lost loved ones. They've lost brothers, fathers, sisters, and what have you. So it is real, and things are happening. There are people in isolation centers as we speak. So please take your COVID vaccine. It's there. It's free. It's available in health centers around you. So please take them.
Absolutely. And if you say, I've heard some argue that they do not trust the display on national television of the president and the vice president receiving the vaccine, but at least you should have some faith in us. We say we've taken the vaccine, and so far we seem to be functioning fine.
And
I don't have any superpowers.
To my hand, so.
No friction, nothing. We're functioning the same. Every day we come here and we, do our jobs, and you hear us. So if we're fine, we assume you'll be fine as well. Okay. So please take the vaccines and do not believe any of the propaganda being spread out there about the safety of the vaccine.
All right, to the headlines now. The Punch newspaper, looming hospitals shut down. Strike threat ridiculous, says federal government. NARD union flame minister with 4 riders in Gige accuses health workers of intimidation. Federal government worried. Joesu accuses government of insensitivity. Minister misleading Buhari union. Nigeria rejects Guinea coup soldiers plan transitional government. Ogun raises alarm on cholera outbreak. I'm not sure what we expect really. If you see how dirty in the last 2 or 3 weeks the streets in Abeokuta has been, I'm not sure what we expect with how smells, it stinks, and then it's there for more than a week. People keep piling up debt, and nobody's coming to pick it up. I'm sure we'll talk about that during the analysis later. But like I said, what do we expect when our streets are that dirty? Armed men kidnap Abuja pastor's wife, daughters. Military officer plants drug in brother's house, reports to NDLEA. This should come under things that happen. INEC redeploys Ogun, Oshun, Bayelsa Rex, orders. Please begin manhunt for Shore's brothers' killers. PDP Afenifere knock government. Healthcare fund. Federal government blames state for non-implementation. NMA berates government. Presidency, PDP differ as regime lists Buhari's achievement. Oil power companies' bank debt rise to 6.14 trillion naira. VAT controversy, FIRS may lose 2.4 trillion naira revenue to states. These are some of the headlines right on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
And now the major story from Nigerian Tribune: apprehension as federal government woos investors for 2.472 trillion naira loan. Current debt level amounts to 42.42 trillion naira. And I remember someone saying, I think it was Cheta Nwanze on Twitter, as it was posted on other social media apps, that as a fact of the day, Nigeria was servicing debt of the amount Nigeria was using to service debts for every naira was way lesser before this administration than it is now. Now it's, I think, about 98 kobo to 1 naira, or is that 98 cents to $1? I don't remember, but it was quite a worrisome stat. But still on this debt, another writer from the same story, Utomi Mogalu, Ganiyu, others warn about looming danger. In Guinea, we told you at the beginning of the program that there's a military situation in Guinea. Nigerian Tribune reports that soldiers seize power in Guinea, arrest President Condé. And there's a picture of soldiers holding Guinean President Alpha Condé hostage during a coup at the presidential villa in Conakry on Sunday, although this is quite an unusual pose for the president who is being held hostage. Also from the front page, NDLEA intercepts drug candies from UK, nabs 22-year-old importer. Government to prosecute teacher for allegedly defiling 14 pupils in Niger. Also in Niger, gunmen kidnap Niger traditional ruler in his palace. The APC recently held its local government congress, and there are a number of writers from that on this Headline: Tinubu's loyalists in court in Ekiti seek Buni's sack. Okorocha Ararao may boycott Imo Congress. Lalong consolidates grip on plateau structures. Protest persists in Bayelsa. Akintola Dare Folari declare Congress fair. While NEF says that shutdown of communication, closure of schools will worsen citizens' lives in the north. I believe NEF is Northern Elders Forum. INEC redeploys Oshun Bayelsa Rex. 3 others. Buhari directs NALDA to set up farm estates in 108 senatorial districts. Hard times as prices of food items soar by 122% in 12 months. Meanwhile, federal government is telling doctors that if you go back to work, we will withdraw court case. As it assesses 8,000 names for residency training fund, finally, the CJN is set to meet with Rivers, Kebbi, 4 other CJs today over conflicting ex parte orders. Delta CJ also summoned over Boni. And there you have it from the Nigerian Tribune's front page.
I'll just touch on headlines from the Daily Post newspaper before we get to analysis. COVID-19, NCDC confirms 30 deaths, 459 new cases. Don't forget as well that taking your vaccine does not now mean that you throw cautions to the wind. You can still catch it. It just means that your immunity is stronger, but you still have to wear your mask, maintain social distancing and all of the other non-pharmaceutical procedures. So, forces against your second term, re-strategize now. Primate Ayodele to Sanwo-Olu. Insecurity, Northern Elders warn government over imposition of curfew, restrictions of communication, others. And Nigeria drifting towards precipice, Falaye. That's according to former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Olu Falaye. Alleged age falsification now seeks prosecution of FUNAB lecturer, Professor Hakim Agbola. Well, this is some of the headlines from the Daily Post newspapers. So let's welcome Abayomi Babalola now, who joins us for this segment of the program. Good morning to you, Abayomi.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, everybody in the studio.
Looking sharp, Abayomi.
Really?
You got it cut.
I just decided to have it that way.
Well, a lot has been said about this hospital strike and what have you. But before we get to that, I think we need to check out this story about you find it in page 39 of the Punch newspaper today. Ogun raises alarm on cholera outbreak. The Ogun State government on Sunday raised alarm on the outbreak of gastroenteritis in some parts of the state. The outbreak was said to have been recorded in the Magboro Ofada area of Obafemi Owode local government area. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, in a statement confirmed the outbreak. Koka said the reported cases of the outbreak were predominantly among commercial motorcycle, that's Okada riders and scavengers in the area. According to her, the index case that is reported to have returned from a trip outside the state has been linked to the source of the outbreak, while the public toilet has been the channel of transmission. Well, here at Splash FM, we had been making noise a lot about the situation of our streets, but cholera is here now, and it was maybe only a matter of time. But does this talk about seriousness on the part of this government?
Well, to answer that straight away, I do not see seriousness on the part of the government to tackle this issue. Like you rightly pointed out in your intro, that deaths litter the streets of Abeokuta. That is the state capital where we see every day. Now, if the state capital could be this dirty, imagine whenever I go to Lagos, that axis of Ibafo, Mowe, when you see the deaths pile up, you wonder if there is any presence of government in that area. Telling us that the index case is from somebody that traveled into the state from another place, and but then if the Commissioner for Health can be telling us this, what measures have been put in place to curb it? I think was it Gombe State or thereabouts last week that they said they have recorded over 30 deaths? We need not wait until we start recording deaths before actions are taken. All these heaps of debt that we have around, what are we doing about them? Some weeks back, I recollect that the governor commissioned or recommissioned the water scheme in Arakonga. Have we been able to get good water from that axis ever since? I am familiar with people who do that business. They've been complaining for the past 3 or 4 weeks that the water that they even get from this source comes out with some sort of taste or odor. And I asked one of them, what is Water Corporation doing about this? He said, they are helpless. So these are some of the things that we need to look at. These are some of the things that we need to look at. The heaps of debt that we have around, and then do we have access to good water, potable and drinkable water? Do we have access to all these things? I don't know. Like you asked, is the government ready for this thing? I have not seen anything on ground to show that we are ready to tackle this thing. They'll just talk about it and we move on.
Well, the Commissioner for Health noted that an unregistered clinic run by the quack had also contributed to the outbreak as cases were being managed unreported. Koka, however, said the treatment center had been set up at the Magboro Akeron Health Center, where treatment items have been made available by the Department of Public Health. Neighboring communities have equally been sensitized on steps to take and where to seek care or report any suspicious cases, while the suspected public toilet had been sealed for sanitization. Well, like I said,
that only one toilet was sealed. And I am very sure that particular house or building will not be the only one having such a toilet in that area. What have we done about that?
Well, so many questions begging for answer, really. But I recall that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I remember that day you do, if I recall correctly, was the one on the show that day. And he did say that he believes that a number of these cholera cases are underreported.
And they are underreported.
At that time, it was not in Ogun State yet.
Yes, but we were talking about one northern state, I think Gombe State or so then. And now it's here in Ogun State, and we can see.
All right, let's talk about the health sector now. Strike threat ridiculous, says federal government. Do you see a end in sight anytime soon to this debacle between the federal government and health unions? The federal government is Sunday described as ridiculous, a threat by the joint health sector union to embark on a strike. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, who stated this in an interview, said the federal government would on Tuesday meet with the leadership of JOSU. NMA is also threatening a strike. The federal government has given condition for withdrawal of case in court. But people are suffering. Many are dying even. But there doesn't seem to be any end in sight.
There could be an end in sight. And that could be as a result of sabotage. What do I mean? What the federal government is trying to do is to break the ranks of the NARD and that of NMA. It will get to a stage. Already Ngige has told us that the federal government will start implementing the no work, no pay rule. Now, it will get to a point that some of their members will tell you that they want to go back to their jobs. That is why I said the federal government is trying to break their ranks. And if you now have some of their members threatening the executives that we want to go back to work, whatsoever the federal government has been able to negotiate with you guys, let's just take it. We all know that the country is bleeding. Every sector is in coma, so to speak. Let's just take what they have given us, and in few months' time, we'll go back and revisit some of these things. That if that pressure starts coming in from within, and the pressure will not just come from within, it is because the federal government will be doing some things underneath to pressurize members to put pressure on their executives. And I wouldn't be surprised if they cave in. I wouldn't be surprised. But for us to say that NARD will get full satisfaction, or they will get what they are requesting for 100%, even 80%, I doubt. I doubt. Don't forget that over the weekend, Ngige was reported to be coming out from the office of the president after briefing him, and immediately he was telling the pressmen that he was still insisting that the no work, no pay rule will be implemented. It means that he has been able to convince Mr. President that what he, as the Minister of Labour, is doing is the right thing, and he has the backing of the president. So, if you can recollect, last week I was saying that maybe the president himself will have to step in and probably seize some of these people himself. But now that Ngige is coming out from his office, and immediately he was still telling members of press that this is their stand, it means that he has the full backing of Mr. President, and the striking doctors will have to think of something else to do.
All right, now let's go to page 25 of Nigerian Tribune, which reports on the shutdown of communications, as well as closure of schools and other things that have been done to the people of Zamfara. And the Northern Elders Forum is reacting to that, saying that the recent suspension of weekly markets, restrictions on sale of petrol, curfews, movement of cattle, and restriction of communication in the northern part of the country will only compound the desperate conditions of living of many communities in the region. Now, this is one of the concerns raised regarding particularly the shutdown of communication in Zamfara. But another concern raised from that shutdown of communication is the fact that wouldn't it make it even harder to get reports of ongoing attacks to the residents if one shuts down communication there? Are you in an attempt to perhaps ground the activities of the perpetrators? Yes, in this case the bandits, the terrorists, whosoever they may be. Aren't you going to make it harder for the citizens to cry out, call out for help, send out SOS? Not to mention, there's talk of how the NIN seems to be pretty much not serving its use. It doesn't seem to be serving the purpose for which it was intended. It has seemed to offer no value in hunting down perpetrators of crime.
To start with, I do say it that things that are measures that are put in place in other countries and they work, things that they do in other countries and they work perfectly, will get to Nigeria and we'll see these things flop. The NIN of a thing, if truly we are making use of that advantage, we shouldn't be talking about this. We shouldn't. Now, that's the NIN of a thing aside. The shutting down of markets and now telecommunication activities there. You recollect that this particular strategy was used in Borno State when the terrorists, when Boko Haram was at its peak. And maybe they feel that they were able to make use of that tactic and it worked out. But for me, what I still don't understand is that why can't Mr. President and the National Assembly declare a state of emergency in Zamfara State? The killings every day, the kidnappings every day, the bombings here and there every day. Is it not enough for us to have a military action in that state? The activities that were alleged to be going on there, especially that of the mining of a thing, Maybe that is why so many people, many of these leaders in that region are not really saying anything. Now, the Northern Elders Forum are saying that the action taken by the government is not will not bring out the desired results. Okay, rather than shutting down telecommunications activities there, why didn't you just declare a state of emergency? Let military take over. Let them see what is really happening in that state. We do say it that we believe our military are good enough to tackle these insurgents. But then, why are we not making use of them at this point in time? I am of the view that people who are blaming the government for shutting down telecommunication activity there, they are not coming up with clean hands. I am of that opinion. It's my personal opinion, and because a lot of them, you find them.
You think it's a well thought out strategy?
I think it's a strategy that could work, but more importantly, I would have preferred a military action there.
With how fragile, everywhere is now, and how tensed the entire country seems to be, do you think that any kind of military intervention now could be best for the country at this time, given how...
No, we are not talking about the whole country,
but then
that particular state.
If a state of emergency is deployed in that state and then there's some level of success, don't you think we are, somehow putting ideas into the head of the military to say, well, the country is not exactly working well?
The complexity of Nigeria this day will not make coup to be that easy. I wouldn't want us to go that route for now. But in that particular state, that's Zamfara state, a lot of the people that are saying the action of the government is not good enough, a lot of them don't reside in Zamfara. You find a lot of them in Kano, these major cities, Kaduna. They won't go to the interlands where these problems are. They'll sit in the state capital and be saying all these things. Those who are in Zamfara state, they know what they are passing through now. And they have a sitting governor who gets his salary, who gets the security votes. What are they doing with all that? Suspend the governor, let military take over, and let's see if these bandits will still continue. You see, the effrontery with which these people now operate these days gives every Nigerian cause for concern that it's getting closer to us every day.
Abayomi, you haven't answered my question about it being a double-edged sword, where it's affecting the bandits maybe, but it's also affecting the people. We will thus be unable to know of security attacks should they happen, and the people may not be able to call out for
Lola, in situations like this, there are some rights of the people that will be given up.
So what happens if the people are attacked while they go off the grid in this way?
That is why I said that action is good, but not good enough. If you suspend telecommunication activity there, of course, many of these reports will not get to where they are supposed to get to. But then, if you are suspending that, do you have troops on ground that will be parading the streets, that will monitor activities that will be happening? We do not have them. So you are putting the people, you are putting their lives more in danger now, because they will not be able to report. They will not be able to call for help.
Right.
But then, if that is what the state governor thinks will work for him, I think some other people should start thinking for him now. He can't think alone now. Other people should start thinking for him, and actions should come from the federal government.
All right. Keep sending in your comments on WhatsApp and Facebook. Facebook, we're live streaming. Splash FM 106.7 is where you find us. WhatsApp 08175555. Drop us a comment there. This is from the pages. We're looking at the pages of the newspapers, bringing you headlines from there. Abayomi Babalola, a public affairs analyst, joins us this morning as he provides some analysis to some of the stories that we're taking. We've taken quite a number so far. So if there's anyone that resonates with you, anyone you'd like to offer your opinion on, drop them for us on WhatsApp or Facebook, and As soon as we open the phone lines, you can start to call us. We'll go on a commercial break now. When we return, we'll take a few more stories as well as your contribution. Please stay with us.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
Splash FM 106.7.
ká ṣiṣẹ́ mọ́ṣẹ́ ní múníjàre ìṣẹ́ ká ṣe ohun tẹ́gbẹ́ ṣe lásìkò ló lè múni pa ìtàn gidi nígbà tí orógún bá rọ̀ kẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ ilé oko fún àwọn àgbẹ̀ oníjẹ àmọ́dún má ti ń di kẹ̀búyẹ̀rì ìdí ni pé àwọn olókoòwò kéékèèké àti ńlá títí tó fi dé àwọn aládàáni àwọn náà fẹ́ dáko pẹ̀lú ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ òde òní lóòótọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ tó mọ ohun tágbẹ̀ ń fẹ́ òun iléeṣẹ́ ABR fún àǹfààní yìí kó lè délé dóko ilẹ̀ àpèsè àti orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn 80,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí 40,000 lẹ́sàn lórí plot kọ̀ọ̀kan bẹ́ẹ̀ náà sì ní ilẹ̀ alábàtà àti òṣìṣẹ́lẹ̀ ní orílẹ̀ tẹ́sí 100,000 naira ní báyìí 50,000 lẹ́sàn lórí plot kan ọjọ́ kẹẹ̀ẹ́dógún oṣù kẹsàn-án làǹfààní yóò pin 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ́ Abẹ́òkúta 08033706236 08033706236.
Dear parents, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy and Jill a dull girl. Why not let your children come unwind with us at the Splash FM monthly children's party? All birthday celebrants this month will get to have a rousing birthday celebration in their honor. A flat fee of 1,500 naira only will get your child access to all the exciting attractions we have. There will be a birthday cake in honor of the celebrants, face painting, games, amusement rides, and more. Come party with us at the Ogun State Recreation Center, MKO Abiola Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta, for the Splash FM monthly children's party. Register by calling or texting 0805 041 7077 or 0811 249 0571. Check out our Facebook page Splash FM 106.7 for more details. The Splash FM monthly children's party is happening on Saturday, the 25th of September by 10 a.m.
We educate. That's why we are respected. We inform. That's why we are loved. More music. We are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash.
106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back. This is still Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Maybe one more story before we get to the phone lines. VAT controversy. FIRS may lose 2.4 trillion naira revenue to state. Abayami, my concern about this development, the FIRS, of course, have appealed that judgment of a federal high court sitting in Port Harcourt. But my concern is it makes sense for states like Lagos, like Port Harcourt, maybe Ogun State too, because of the presence of some industries here. But for a state like Osun State, Ekiti State, Zamfara State, Taraba State, and many other states, maybe about 30 states of the Federation even, how do they survive? Because what this means is that everything that is gathered across the country before goes into a central pool, and then it is now split across all of the states. But now if you collect VAT in your state, it means that states like Lagos, like Port Harcourt, like River State will have more. And then some of these states, maybe about 25 or 30 states, would definitely suffer. So how do they cope? I know a lot of people have been commending this particular ruling of the Federal High Court, but then the larger picture doesn't seem like a nice development.
Burger, the first thing is that if the present status quo has been well handled, we wouldn't be talking about this case in the first instance. Where you have a state laboring to get revenue, And after getting that revenue, you now send this to the national purse. Another state that is not doing as much will now still get much more than the state that is like what they call the goose laying the golden egg, being sacrificed every now and then. What does this tell us? If the states are able to get this case through the way they wanted it, it means that the states you mentioned, states like Osun, Ekiti, Benue, and the likes, they should go back and see what they can do, how they can generate their own revenue as well. It makes them to be creative enough. Take for instance Ogun State. Ogun State can decide that, okay, even if I know we have some natural resources of ours in Ogun State, but even if you do not have any natural resource, because of the proximity of Lagos to Ogun State, how we now sit down, how can we tap into it? Maybe in the areas of accommodation, we provide accommodation for people that works in Lagos, come and live in Ogun State, where we will be getting something from there. So it leaves these states to be creative and see how they can generate their own revenue. States that are saying that you cannot take alcohol in our state, but they are benefiting from the money that other states where they take alcohol, the revenue they are getting, and that state is benefiting from it. The state can then decide that since the money from alcohol is no longer coming to us, should we allow people to take alcohol in our states too? Maybe we too will start getting our own revenue. These are things that I feel we can benefit from it. But then, because we still remain a federation, we still remain one nation, probably we'll now negotiate a different percentage. The higher percentage will go to the states where the revenue comes from, and then the lower percentage will be the contribution of that state to the national purse.
If the states eventually win this case, I'm not sure there's going to be any negotiation.
See, that is where I expect the advisors of the federal government to start looking at now. Okay, can we settle out of court? If we are to settle out of court, what are you bringing to the table? If we go if we decide to go all the way, you never can tell. Maybe you lose that case. But rather than going all the way, why can't we sit down and negotiate? Let's see the percentage. Okay, you want more of it.
Compliance. Should this order be taken as far as even the Supreme Court, and it's binding, and it goes in favor of the states receiving VAT? Do you see compliance from the federal government, given, as I said, past presidents, and that this is clearly not going to be beneficial to the federal government?
You see, there will be confrontation, because the kind of governors we have these days, some of them are so I don't want to use the word troublesome. They will insist that the point of making that revenue, rather than paying into the national coffers, pay straight into the state coffers. So the federal government will now be expecting the state to remit to the federal purse, and the governors will say we are not remitting.
Well, it looks like the Rivers State government is already even telling people to stop paying to the FIRS. But then this is a case that was instituted by the Rivers State government, and not maybe the Nigeria Governors Forum or
other states will step into it.
But then if it happens, it means that other states might have to. But let's see how this goes. But I'm just worried about the state of some states are not even viable,
right?
So to say.
We'll talk about this in more detail tomorrow. It's actually our issue of the day. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the issue of states collecting VAT, as we've touched on this morning. We're going to go into more detail.
It's been discussed before on Panorama, but we are trying to expand it a little bit more. But let's see if we can get to the phone lines very quickly. 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, 0817 555 1067. That's also the WhatsApp line. You can drop your comments there. We've touched on quite a number of issues this morning from the newspapers. So if any interest you, now is the time to contribute. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Nicholas.
You see, if Buhari had maintained his manifesto of restructuring, we wouldn't be having this argument. But I praise the judges in that court who gave the judgment in favor of Wike. They appear to have a greater understanding of federalism. But it's unfortunate when this case goes to the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, who is an expert in Sharia law, is likely to find sympathy for Buhari. And this is the danger of a democracy when it is handled by catastocrats. On the issue of the cholera, the Commissioner of Health sometimes reminds me of the Minister of Finance of Nigeria. They both have aesthetic powers. But fiscal integrity of a nation and the epidemiological safety of a state goes beyond aesthetic powers. Every student of elementary pathology knows that Ogun State underground water is contaminated. So we do not need a foreigner to come in and give us cholera. The fridges of Ogun River is messed up. And the underground, there's no underground healthy water was the average majority of people. So it's simple. There'll be an epidemic. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Nicholas, for your comments. You too can be a part of the program. We'll be glad to hear from you this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I am now part of the group program. Yes, I'm Babare.
Babare, good morning.
Babare.
I thought you wanted to introduce yourself another way because
I am Babare.
I thought you wanted to introduce yourself in another way when you opened with that short.
I'm now taking part in your program,
right.
Like you already, said.
Please go.
Yes, where I'm going this morning is about this military coup. And the condemnation by the UN and Nigeria, Guterres and Buhari. I want to ask, where were they when this African president tend to enlocate themselves in power? Didn't they tell them that, my president, you are going against the wish of the people, which even Kenyans did, poured out on the streets, protested, but look at this man, they never listened. Now the military struck, and UN and our Nigeria, they are now saying they condemn the military coup. So I even want to suggest that there should be a military high command, and these military leaders of each country and stand as a watchdog for any African country that is not really, going the way of true and real democracy. They should flush them out and bring in new civilians to take charge of affairs. So that could be my contribution this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Babari, for your contribution. The phone line is still open. You can also drop your comments on Facebook and on WhatsApp as well. We'll be glad to take them. Just to clarify, what Babari was saying is that maybe ECOWAS could have a military high command, that could take action when some of these leaders are getting out of line. I think that's what he's trying to say. Just to be clear, in fact, I was almost going to cut him off before I took time to listen.
Be a military. Hello.
Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Olufatoki is my name, calling from Abeokuta.
Good morning to you, Honorable.
Good morning, Honorable. Let me comment our guest in the House in relation to his submission on the way refuse is dumped on the road, on the street, everywhere in Ogun State. I think we have Commissioner for Environment. We have special advisor working on the environment. I don't know what they are doing specifically. And the government is supposed to also proactive. We can't not afford to have health crisis in the state more than what we are experiencing now. Almost in every road, every street, you see the refuse dumped. And there's no control, no penalty, no regulations. And the government is not saying anything. This has to be addressed. That's my contribution this morning.
Thank you very much. And to think, well, I know that there is no commissioner for environment at the moment. I think we have an essay. The commissioner for environment had a scandal some time ago and was relieved. And to the best of my knowledge, a new appointment has not been made, but there is a special advisor on environment. And I know he has been here on Yoruba programs in the past. He has spoken about it. And to think that there is even a strike of, a doctor strike going on. We cannot afford an epidemic at this time. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Uche from Akuta.
Uche, good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning. You see, the likes of Lai Mohammed and co made us understand that they are winning the war on terrorism in the north. But as the case may be now, gradually, the north now is winding down in activity. Schools closed, markets closed, roads closed, telecommunication cut off, which is the worst of it all. This happen. How can the people reach the people in town and communicate the security agencies? That is it on that. Now, Gado Basheru will build his fat life on Odudua and IPOP without seeing what is happening right in his own town. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day yourself, Uche. Thank you for calling us. All right, let's see if we can...
Uche would never comment without mentioning IPOP. I know he's quite passionate about his people. Okay, let's sneak in this one call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tajudeen from Macon.
Tajudeen, good morning to you. Once again.
Yes, on the issue of environment in the state, I want to believe that there are certain things that we should not play politics about. Because if we look at it, there was a way by which the previous administration went about the issue of refuse dump. Now, this administration came in and said people should not dump refuse by the roadside again without having an alternative, a working alternative. Take, for instance, in Ilorin, there is a big container that you have at strategic locations, well covered, that people can go there, dump their refuse. The truck or the pulling van will come, pull it, go and dump it at the refuse site, then bring it back to that point. So now, saying that something should not go on, replace it with something better. Let people know that yes, we have a plan for this thing. Now this is the end result. And I just hope it doesn't get out of hand. Because we are still talking about certain areas in Ogun State. It means that it has not spread across other areas. And if not taken, it may get out of hand. So which we should work against. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The downside to this is also that when it happens, are people willing to go to the hospital because doctors are on strike? So it's really... but this is Horse from Splash FM calling on the special advisor to the governor of environment, Mr. Olaore Sonya, to please do the needful. Our streets are dirty, and if Abeokuta can be this dirty, you can imagine what happens in other parts of the state.
Let me quickly add to that. Those who are at the helms of affairs should not give us the impression now that something is happening in the state that makes governance to take the back seat. It's as if governance is not taking place in Ogun State at the moment. I wouldn't know what that thing is.
Are you saying governance is now in a query? Is that what you're trying to say?
But you mentioned that. And
please take us through WhatsApp.
We're waiting on the comments from WhatsApp.
On Facebook, John Oluwafemi Bezo said, good morning, Lola and Ms. Olani. We would know President Buhari's agenda. Well, this is your opinion. He's fighting for his people, so you cannot expect him to declare the state of emergency. He knows what he's doing. 2023 is already around the corner. God bless Nigeria. Ogundari Oluwabumi Idowu Adebode Alade Johnson. We see your messages. Thank you very much. Let's see if we can take one or two more calls before we go. Say our byes this morning. 0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067 0817 555 1067. These are the phone lines to be a part of the program this morning. Baba already talked about the issue of the coup as well earlier. But there's also another issue that concerns me, and I would like you to just make this your final take on the program this morning. I was at the state secretariat last week, and I saw, before now, I've seen it before now, maybe sometimes last year, some transformers, just put somewhere. I also saw buses. I know the governor, was talking about a mass transit system and all of that. But my concern is why those things are left there, languishing, not being deployed for the purpose with which they were bought. And of course, they were bought with taxpayers' money.
I wouldn't know why.
I don't know if you have seen them.
I've seen them. I see them every now and then. And my line of profession gives me opportunity to interact with some people on some of these things you have talked about. But I wouldn't know why we have all these things there and they are not given to people that will make use of it. I can't really tell. But my fear is this. By this time next year, 2023 election will be on the table of all these politicians. Probably we'll start seeing the buses, we'll start hearing the transformers, and we'll start seeing what they call the benefits of democracy.
All right.
Probably.
All roads lead to 2023, so I hope that you have your PVC or have already done the online registration and are ready to proceed to the physical office to go pick up your card or complete your registration. In Anambra State, actually, the CVR exercise was suspended because of the upcoming gubernatorial elections. But in every other state, it's business as usual. So make sure that you go register. Get your PVCs. As you guys keep saying, 2023 is around the corner.
And just to also mention that, except you are a first-time registrant or maybe, that's only when you have to go to the office for physical capture. If you are moving your card from somewhere or your card is defaced, you just have to register online and wait for when these cards will be produced. So it doesn't cost you anything, really. Just get online and register.
CVR.inecnigeria.org.
We have to go now. Thank you very much, Abayomi Babalola, for your time. As always, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll see you again tomorrow. Myself and Lola Zatis. And my name is Buyiga Olani. Have a great week.
I am Lola Neduteni. Good morning.